So this is two people holding up a Port Louis pad. Now, I really recommend this to you. A Port Louis pad is a wonderfully low-tech way of measuring the pressure under your saddle. Now, you have to want to know the truth. And this is a vinyl pad, the two sides Velcro together, as you can see, and it's filled with this red dough, which is rather sticky, nasty kind of stuff. And the inventor of this piece of kit, his wife was a dental nurse, and he went to see her in the dental surgery one day, and they were taking impressions on a patient, and suddenly this guy had this really bright idea about something like dentist impression material that might give an idea of the pressures under the saddle. So what you do is you roll out this pad with a rolling pin. You roll out each side with a rolling pin, you put it on under your saddle, and you ride in it. And by the time you've ridden for half an hour, the dough within the sides of the pad will move, and that will show you where pressure is. So you can see on this pad that there's a pressure point. It's longer as we look on the right side. It's a smaller area, but I think possibly more pressure on the left side. And the fact that the dough has completely moved away under the saddle really implies quite a lot of pressure. And I have to say, in using this over a number of years on quite a large number of horses, I have not seen very many good printouts, because a good printout would give you an impression of each side of the panel of the saddle that you could feel and maybe see if you held it up to the light, but you wouldn't get anywhere near the moving of the dough to make the vinyl completely clear. Here's another one. This saddle, I rather suspect, had rolling pin panels. You can see quite distinct pressure under the length of the panel on each side. And it's interesting how the pressure is greater, I think, on, as we look at the pad, the right front and the left back. Maybe the saddle is rocking a bit between that diagonal. There doesn't seem to be as much pressure on the right back. But I would have thought that's a saddle with quite rolling pin panels that may well be too narrow for the horse. And I'm going to say that I think there's an awful lot of saddles, an awful lot of horses out there wearing saddles that are too narrow and are a restriction and are a problem. And I think this is particularly true in the USA, where there are many fewer qualified saddle fitters than there are in the UK. And I think it can even happen with custom-made saddles. So in terms of what stops it, if we're asking the horse to bring his back up and fill his rib cage out under a solid structure that is really pressing in on him, we're pushing him in a double bind. And I think this can very often be the case. And a huge number of horses have muscle wastage each side of the wither, where they have literally, muscle has wasted away because of a saddle that's too narrow. And whilst I think there are some very good minds and very good engineers working in saddlery at the moment, and that change is happening within the industry, it is a big deal.